Hi, welcome to my REST API series with Django and Django REST Framework. So in this REST API series, you're going to learn how to start building a REST API by yourself comfortably. Understand? So once we are done with the REST API series, we're going to go over to the front end with React. So we're going to build a blog application. You understand? So we're going to build a React front end that's going to simply consume the REST API we built with Django and Django REST Framework. Understand? So first thing, we are going to build up our APIs, and once we are done with the API series, we'll go over to the front end. We're going to build an exciting web app like this with React, and then we're going to simply integrate the React app and our Django API together to form a full stack web application. So it's going to be an exciting tutorial. It's going to be an exciting time here. So without further ado, let's get started right now. Okay, so we're going to start from the ground up. We're going to start from scratch. So first thing first, I need to go down. I need to get my command prompts. So I'm going to search for that CMD. So here is it, command prompt. So click on it. So if you're on Windows, it's called CMD. If you're on Mac, it is called terminal, right? So currently I'm in my command prompts. I'm going to go into my favorite folder where I create my Django project. You can create yours in whichever location you want to. Okay, I'm going to say cd Django underscore projects, Django underscore projects, Django underscore projects. That's my own directory. Yours can be called some other thing instead. So you can create your Django project in whatever location you want to. You can do that on your desktop, on your documents, whichever place. But I'm going right now. I'm doing mine in a different location. So I'm going to say cd document first. So in the document directory, I have a folder called Django underscore projects. So right there, I'm in that folder. So the first thing first, you need to create a virtual environment instead. So right now, I'm going to show you how I create my own virtual environment. I'm going to say pip install virtual. I think is pip install virtual env wrapper -win. So I think this is what it's called, pip install virtual env wrapper -win. Hit enter. So right now I'm trying to create my own virtual environment. So you're going to run this command once on your computer. It's going to be run once. Understand? So let's wait for it while it creates the virtual environment wrapper. So currently it says requirements already satisfied. That's because I already have this setup file installed. So right now, this file you see up here is the setup file. So right now I'm going to create my virtual environment. I'm going to create the virtual environments now. I'm going to say make virtual env. I'm going to just say, okay, I'm going to say rest. I'm going to call my virtual environment rest API underscore env. So that's the name. So the command is make virtual env, then the name of your virtual environment. So I called my rest API env, rest underscore API underscore env. So it's enter. So let's wait for it. So right now, I just add my virtual environments created and activated. You can see right now, you can see this. Here's my virtual environment. You can see it here. It was both created and also activated. You understand? So these parentheses, you can see it has some parentheses by the side. That shows that your virtual environment has been activated. So right now, we have to install Django inside the virtual environment. I'm going to say pip install Django. Yeah, it's enter. So because your virtual environment is activated, Django is going to be installed inside of it. You get, so I'm going to say pip install Django. So it's going to take some seconds to install, but let's wait for it. Listen, we're going to wait for it. So right now, Django is being installed. You can see it's taking. You can see it's trying to install Django with some other packages that Django might need. You understand? So it's going to take quite some time. Let's wait for it. Okay, so right now we have Django successfully installed into our virtual environment. You can see it says successfully installed ASGRef and Django and some other packages, right? So right now it's time for us to create our Django projects. I'm gonna say Django admin start projects. I'm gonna call my I'm gonna say let's say I'm gonna say new Django API. Okay. Okay, I'll just say new Django API. So that's name of our Django project. It's called new Django API. So it's enter. Once you run the command, it's enter. So our Django project is going to be called new Django API, and it's going to be it's going to be a folder. Then I'll say cd new underscore Django underscore API. I'm going to go into I'm going to go into the right now. I'm trying to go into the folder, into the project I just created. I'm trying to go inside the Django project I created, right? I'm gonna hit enter. Right now I'm inside. Okay, and then I'm gonna open this directory with VS Code. I'm gonna say code, then dots. So I'm trying to open the directory. I'm trying to open our Django project with VS Code. So I'm gonna say code dots, hit enter, and this command will open this Django project on VS Code. And right now, VS Code is live, is up. So right now, VS Code is up. So what you're gonna do here is simple. You're gonna say yes, I trust the authors. Yep. So I'm gonna make the font size big. Yeah. So right now, you can see now we have our Django project. It's called new Django API. That's our Django project, right? So I'm gonna open our terminal. I'm gonna open a terminal on VS Code. Click on those three ellipses. Click on terminal, new terminal. So I'm gonna close down the spots. Bring this down a bit. I'm going to open our command prompts. So now we have our command prompt on VS Code. So right now we have our Django project. So I'm going to create a separate app for our Django project. Instead, I'm going to create an app for our Django projects. And right now you can see now we have our virtual. I'm trying to reduce. Yeah. Right now you can see we have our virtual environment already activated for us. That's good. So what I'm going to do, so I want to create an app for our Django, for our new Django project, an app, and the name is called new underscore Django underscore API, right? So I'm going to say Python manage.py starts app. And I'm going to call this app, I'm just going to give my app a name. I'm going to call this app, let's just say, blog app. Yes, it's enter. So if we check close now, you're gonna see a new folder. You're gonna see a new folder appear here. So right now you can see we have the blog app. It has been created now. So what you're gonna do is simple. Once you have your app created, go down to your Django project. And now remember, our Django project is called new Django API. So I'm gonna open the folder, go down to the file called settings.py file. So once you're in this file, you just scroll down and you find this installed apps. So you're gonna add our new app. The app is called blog app. So right now we have our Django projects live. We have our Django project created for us. We have a new app created. We have already registered our app. So what are we going to do next? So what I want to do now is this. I want to simply customize the Django user model. You understand? By default, Django user model comes with some fields. For example, it comes with the username field. It comes with the first name field. It comes with your email field. It comes with some other fields, right? But if you can check from what we have on the front end, right now you can see here, this is our front end application that we intend to build later after we are done with our REST API. So you can see we have this user. This user has he has a bio. He has his right now. He also has a social media URL, his social media links. You understand? He has his bio. He has his job title. He has his social media URL. By default, Django user model does not come with these fields. So that's why we need to customize Django user model to accommodate the bio field, the social media field, and then the job title field, and also the profile picture. You understand? That's why I want to customize Django user model. Okay, so right now let's customize the user model. You understand? So I'm going to go down to my models.py file, go down to your blog app, you find the file called models.py, so open the file. So right now I want to create a new user model. Instead, we are no longer going to use the default user model that comes with Django. I want to create our own user model, right? I'm going to just say class, I'm going to call it custom user, right? And then we're going to simply inherit from abstract user, abstract, if I can spell that, abstract user. And right now let's import abstract user. I'm going to say from django.contrib.auth.models import abstract user. Yep. So I told you before, Django user. So right now with abstract user, we are simply trying to simply update what Django already has. We are trying to add more fields to what Django already has by default. Understand? And right now, I'm going to add the following fields. I'm going to say bio. I told you now we are trying to add more fields to what Django already has. You understand? That's what you're trying to do here. So I'm going to just add. I'm going to add the bio field. I'm going to say models.text area. Right, it's a text area. I can't even spell this again. Text area, I hope I'm correct. Text area, and I'm just say blank should be true. I'm trying to make it not compulsory. Blank should be true, and null should be equal true. And then I'm going to add this. And right now, I want to also add the social media links. Okay, let's right now. Oh, this is called text field, not text area. Sorry, I don't know. Text field, yeah. It's called test field now. So right, I'm going to add social media link. Let me just paste this line here. So this is for Facebook. So you can see right now we're using a URL field, right? So we also have to set blank to true, null to true. So I'm going to add the other links. So I'm going to add, let's add for YouTube. Let's add for Instagram. And let's add for LinkedIn. Oh, let's add for Facebook, YouTube. Let's add for Twitter. And lastly, I think this far enough. Yeah, enough. So I want to also add the field for the profile picture. So I'll come under the bio field and then I'll say profile picture should be equal to, let's say models.image field. And then we're going to add I'm going to say upload to. We're going to upload to a folder called, this should be, we're going to simply upload to a folder called, leave my fonts, called profile image. All right, and I'll just say blank should be equal to true. Or why is this thing obstructing my view? And null should be equal to true. Yep, so we've got that already. So now we've got this now. So right now we're going to return our string function. I'll just say return self.username, return self.username. If we check closely, we don't have username on this. We don't have, right now you can see, right now, right from what you are seeing here, we can't find username here. So what we are doing here is that we are simply trying to add more fields. With the abstract user class, you can simply add more fields to the existing Django user model. So that's what you are trying to accomplish here. You understand? And I always recommend that in whatever Django project you are working on, it's a best practice for you to always customize your user model. It's always best you customize your user model because you don't know what requirements you might need in the future. You understand? That might require you to customize your model at the middle of your project. You understand? So at every project you want to start with Django, the best thing for you to do is for you to customize your user model first. Customize your user model first. Understand? That should be the first thing you should do. So now once we are done with this now, we need to tell Django that, so we need to let Django know that this is our new user model, right? So go down to your setting.py file, to the setting.py file. You scroll down to the bottom. I'm going to add a new field. I'm going to just say auth user model, auth user underscore model should be equal to, our app is called blog app, in small letter, blog app dot custom user. Right? Am I correct? Let me blog app dot, okay, it's going to be blog app dot custom user. Yep, so now hope everything works well. So right now let's go down to our Django admin, so our admin.spy file rather. Admin.spy, where are you? Shop. Yep, so we are here. So right now we want to simply register this custom user. You understand? We have to register it, right? Back to our admin now. So I'm going to just say class. I'm going to say class custom user admin. So we're going to inherit from, I'm going to say from, well, we have to inherit from user admin. So we're going to just user admin. So you have to import user admin now. I'm going to just say from django.contrib.auth.admin or import user admin. I hope I'm correct. Yeah, so that's it now. So I'm gonna say list underscore display. So right now we want to display some of our user fields on the Django admin. So I'm going to right now display I just say the username, the email. I just say the first name and the last name. So these are the fields. So right now, these are some of the default fields of our Django user model, right? So we've got this done. So we have to register it now. We have to register this custom user admin, and we also have to register our models.py file, this particular model. So back to our admin.py, I'm going to say from .models, that's the current folder. From .models, import custom user. And right there, I'll come over here and say admin.site.register. The site.register. I'll just say custom user and then custom user admin. So I'm registering both the model and this admin class. So once you've done this now, let's make migrations. Back to your CMD. I'm going to say Python -py make migrations. Hit enter. So right now we run into an error. Right now it's complaining about our user model. It's saying it's saying that it does not exist. It does not exist. That was I was trying to say. Back to our let's go back to our settings.py file. Go back to your settings.py file. It's called right now. I called it blog app.customer user. It's not customer. It's meant to be custom user. So from what we called it here custom user. And from what I wrote here, I wrote customer. So that was a mistake. So it's custom user. So let's make migrations again. Okay, right now it's trying to tell us to install Pillow. Pillow is a package that's used to undo images in Django. We check closely. We are working with right now. You can see now we are working with this image field, and that means we are going to work with images, right? So we have to install Pillow. We're going to say pip install Pillow. So that's the command pip install Pillow. So let's wait for it to get installed into the virtual environment. So right now it says successfully installed Pillow, right? Well, right now we're going to run let's make migrations this time. And let's be hopeful it works. So it's worked now. So now let's migrate. Okay, and once you're done migrating, we're going to go to our super user. So yep, migrating is going fine. And let's go to our super user. I'm going to say Python manage.py, create super user, create super. user, one word. I'm going to say Clint, that's the username, Clint. Email address, I might just say clint@gmail.com. Password, input something there, 1234, say yes. And then let's run server. Let's go. Come on. Yes, let's run our server. I'm going to say Python manage.py run server, right? So it's enter. So it's up now. So hold down your control key and click on this URL. All right, you can see our Django project successfully. Our Django project is working fine. Right, so now go down. Right now, we're going to go down. We're going to say /admin. We're going to go down. We're going to go into our Django admin. Yep. So we have to log in. So these are my credentials. So log in. So we are inside now. You can see these are our new users table. You can see here is it now. It's in the blog app model. Right now this is what we have. Right now you can see we have a new user, and this user we have here is the super user I just created, right? But don't worry, the first name and the last name are both empty. You can just click on the user and then go and update the first and last name. I'm going to just say Clinton Machiku. That's my full name. And I'll simply just save. Yep, so right now we just customize our user model now. We've added some extra fields to the model. Some extra fields like, what's it called? Like the bio, the profile picture, and the user's social media links, right? Okay, so guys, we just finished customizing the Django user model. So I'm going to show you how you can sign up users, and also how you can log in users using simple JWT. You understand? So from our application here, we want to give users the ability to create accounts and also log them in. You understand? So okay, so right now it's time for us to start building our REST API proper. You understand? So it's time for the REST API. So what we're going to do now is this. So right now we have to install the Django REST Framework package. You have to install the package now. I'll open a new command prompt, and down here I'll simply say make sure your virtual environment is activated just like my own. I'll simply just say pip install. Let me make this a bit bigger. I'm going to say pip install Django REST Framework, right? It's going to be a single word, Django REST Framework. It's enter, a single word. So while it is installing, I'm going to go down to my settings.py file, go down to your settings.py file in the installed apps region. Just over here, I'm going to add a new package called REST_framework. The package is called REST_framework. So right now, we already have our Django REST framework successfully installed. So back to my blog app. So on the left panel, click on the left panel. So in your blog app, create a new file called Serializers, Serializers.py. So in this file, we are going to simply create a serializer for our custom user model. So first and first, I need to import serializers. I'm going to say from REST framework, import serializers, right? So I'm going to say class. So I'm going to just say right now, I want to create a serializer that will enable users create accounts, right? So I'm going to just say user registration serializer. So better you give these classes a descriptive name to make life easier for you. So that's what I recommend. So it's called user registration serializer. So we're going to simply inherit from serializers dot model serializer. Right now we're going to have our class meta. It's just like a model form. It's just like a model form in Django. We're going to have our class meta. Now we're going to say model should be equal to the custom user. So our custom user model, right? Custom user. We can get that. I'm going to say from Django, but most times you're not meant to use the model name directly. So this is a better approach. I'm going to just say from Django.contrib.auth dot contrib dot auth, right? We just say import get user model. So right now this is simply this is the best way to do it than having to use the exact name of your user model. That's in a sense. So back here I'll simply just get this guy, copy and paste here, put in the parentheses, and then the fields I need these fields. I think I need the ID, the email, the username field. These are the default field that comes with the user model, and the last name field. And right now over here, these are the custom fields that we added by ourselves, that we had to add by ourselves, right? Understand, these are the custom field, but what we have here these are the default fields that come into our user model. And one more thing, we also need to add our password, right? Because create a user, you need to pass in the password. So one more thing. So now let's add this line. So here's the line now. So this line is going to make sure that our password can only be write only. It simply means that our password is going to be hidden. It cannot be seen. It will only be write only. So what we are trying to do here, right? So now we just wrote our user registration serializer, right? So right now we have to also come down and customize the create function. Instead, I have to customize the create function of this serializer. I'm going to say dev creates. I'm going to say self and then validated data underscore data. So right now I want to get our validated data, which are this stuff here. So if these data are all valid, we want to create our user, right? If they are all valid. So how do we know they are valid? This is how we know. I'm going to say email should be equal to. So through the help of this validated data, we're going to know if they are valid or not. So we're going to just say we're going to say validated data, then square brackets. We're going to say email, and we're going to do the same thing for the username. Then for the username, the password, the first name and the last name, right? So that is how it's meant to be, right? So right now this validated data holds the correct information. So you get, so right now just come over here and I'll just put in the username. Right now come over here and I'll put in the first name, and that's the same thing I'll do here. Let's use the last name, and here should be the first name, right? So we've got this now. So now just say user should be equal to the get underscore user underscore model, right? So so is our user now. So right, this get user model simply helps us to get the user model we are using. You understand? So currently we are using this custom user. We are using this custom user, right? So that's what it does. So this is a best practice to use using of this get user model than having to use the actual user model that we called here. You understand? So this is the best practice. So what I'm doing now, so I'll say user. I'll just say new user should be equal to user dot objects dot create. Now just say email should be equal to email. I'll say username should be equal to username, and then first name should be equal to first name, and last name should be equal to last name. So now we just created our user, but we check closely. The next thing we want to do is last name should be equal to last name. So right now we just created our user, right? So the next thing for us to do now is to set the password, right? We're going to say password should be equal to validated data, square bracket password. So right now we've gotten our password also. And over here, I'll just come over here and say new user dot set password, and I'll pass in this password. That's it. And over here, I'll say new user dot save. Then we have to return this new user, return new user. So we have done with our serializers. So what's the next step? The next step is for us to create a view for this serializer. I have to create a view function for the serializer. So now we're going to go down to our blog app. So in the blog app, now we have a new file called views.py file. So over here, I'll just say def. I'm going to say register. I'm going to call this view register user. Register user. So this view is going to simply carry, it's going to hold the request arguments. And now we're going to just say, so what they want to create a new user, right? So we're going to say serializer should be equal to user registration serializer. I'm going to copy this, then we'll paste it here. We have to import it. So before we import it now, so after doing this now, we're also going to, so we're going to say serializer should be equal to user registration serializer, and then we're going to pass in an object. The objects are this field. This field we have here. These are the objects we want to pass to our serializer, right? Then we're going to just say data should be equal to request the data, right? So we've done that now. We're going to check if this, we're going to say if serializer dot is valid. We're going to check if it is valid. If it is valid, we're going to simply do what? Save. We're going to say serializer dot save. Else, and then we're going to simply return a response. Return response, and we'll say it's called response. We're going to then say serializer.data. So it's going to simply return the newly created user data. So if there's an error, we are going to simply return a response. And then we're going to just say, serializer.errors. Then we're going to simply return a status message that says, we're going to say status should be equal to status dot http underscore 400 underscore bad requests. So yeah, so right now we have to do some importing. We have to import this serializer. We have to import response. We have to say import status. So right now let's say from, let me try this trick, control and then dots. So now if you hold down control and dots, you can be able to import some of the classes and functions in your Django project. So as for me now, I'm able to import this user registration serializer. So we just got that up there. So now as for this response, that's coming from REST framework. I'm going to say from REST underscore framework. From REST framework dot response, we have to import response. And for the status, we have to say from REST framework import status. And if you check it, remember this is meant to be a REST API function, so it needs a decorator. So we're going to just say from REST underscore framework dot decorators imports. I'm going to say imports API underscore view. So I'm going to add a decorator here. I'm going to say at API underscore view. So this decorator is going to simply, it's going to only accept a post request, right? So we've got the function created now. So what's the next thing? The next thing for us to go create a URL for this view. So we're going to work on that next. So right now it's time for us to create a URL for this view. So we're going to our blog app again. I'm going to create a new file. I'm going to say new file. I'm going to call it urls.py. Hit enter. So you have the file created. Now we're going to say from django.urls, we're going to import the paths from django.urls import paths. Right now, we're gonna also import our views. We're gonna say from the current folder import views. And right now, I'm gonna let me make a mistake. I'm gonna say URL patterns. I'm sure you guys are familiar with these things already. So I'm gonna just say paths. And I'll just call the URL is gonna be called register underscore user. And I'll say /. I'm gonna say views dot register user, and then let's just give it a name. Let's just say register underscore user. I love giving them the same values, right? So now they all have the same values. It's not a must, they must have the same values. So once you've done this now, the next thing for you to do is simple. We have to simply let Django know about this urls.py file, because currently our Django project does not know about this file we created. So I'm going to go down to your Django projects. So the Django project also has a file called url.py. So here's the file. So open it now. Right now, I have to let it know about the URL file we created for the blog app. Understand? So over here, I'm going to come over here and do that. I'm going to just add a new part, and we'll just add an empty string there, and we'll just simply just say views. Sorry, I'm going to simply just say include blog app .urls. That's it. So you have to import include from Django.urls, imports include. So we've got everything we want set. We've got our URL sets. We've got our views sets. We've got our serializers, our views. We've got our serializers over here set. So what's the next thing? Next is for us to go and try out this thing. It's for us to try out. It's for us to go and try out creating a new user and see if it works. Remember, we're using an API. So it's for us to go and try and see if we can create new users. Now let's see. So our server is currently running. So for us to try it, we're going to use Postman. So VS Code has a beautiful extension called Postman. Go down to your VS Code extension. So click search up Postman. Come on, don't waste my time. You can see we have Postman. The first command, the first one, you have to make sure you have it installed. Yeah, this is it. Make sure you have it installed. Once it is installed, you're gonna see it on the left. It's gonna be on the list of items here. Currently, I'm gonna click on these 3 ellipses. I'm gonna say here's my Postman. So you can see this is the icon. This is how it looks like. You can see it's up here now. So these are for you. Your icon might show up here by default. The reason why my own icon disappears is because that's because my window is zoomed in. So here's how the icon looks like. So I've told you how you can get your Postman. So I'm going to click on new requests. Click on this new request button, this new HTTP request. Click on it. So it's loading up. Okay, come on. It's loading. So I want to try out and see what we've done so far, if it is working or not. So I'm going to reduce the size of my, let's reduce it a bit. So let's see what we are doing. My server is running and we're currently on port 8000. So here's my Postman is opened. So for you to create a new user, it's simple. I'm going to put in our Django URL, which is 127.0.0.1, and the port number is 8000. So right now we want to register a new user. Where is it again? Here is the URL register user. So I'll copy back to my Postman. I'll paste it here. This is the URL, and this URL supports only a post request. Remember, from the views.py, let me close some of these guys that we don't need. So from the views.py now, you can see it only supports a post request. You can see there. So over here, I'm going to click on this drop down and select posts. So I've got my URL. So once you've got your URL, right now, once you create our user, right? So click on body, click on the body tab, click on it, and then choose form data, right? So right now, I want to input our information, which are the email, the username, the first name, last name, and password. So the email now, so once you click on form data, come down here, I'm going to say email. I'm going to just say tests. I'm going to just say, I'm going to say, okay, let me just say dan@gmail.com. As for the username, let me just say Daniel. Let me just say Dan. For the first name, first underscore name, I'll say Daniel. This, let me just, it's called Dan. Let me just, yeah. And then for the last name, that's a surname. I'll just say Dan, let's just say Dan Mike as his last name. And lastly, the password. The password, I'll just impute, let me just say, okay, I'll just say, okay, we might just put some, I'm trying to remember something I can put in. I'll just say Baka 100. Yeah, Baka 100. I'm a Barcelona fan, so that's it. So remember, these are the objects that we are asking for. The email, the username, the first name, last name, and password, right? So now I've imputed those values. So what's the next thing? Next thing, so right now, let's click on send. And let's be hopeful that it does not return any error. It's, it's, it's looking like we are already running into an, okay. Now click on, so let me reduce the size of this stuff. So right now, click on the send button on top, click on it. So if everything works, that means we can create users comfortably. Let's hope it works. Right now it says 200 okay. That means it works. So I'm going to raise this up. Let's raise it up. And right now you can see we have our newly created user, Daniel. Remember, you can see now we have a newly created user. Perfect. Go down to my Django admin. If I refresh this place, refresh now, you can see we have Daniel created. So right now we can now create new users successfully. Okay, so right now let's work on logging in the users instead. So and for you to log in users, we're going to use a package called simple JWT. So over to your browser, look up simple J. You're going to say simple JWT. So yeah, the first link, click on it. So we're here now. So here is a guide for you. So click on getting started. Click on the first link, getting started. So we have to install this package called Django REST Framework Simple JWT. So I'll copy this command, copy back to your Django code. So yeah, just raise the terminal up. So I'll paste the command there. I'll show what's happening. Then I'll copy it. So let's copy it again. Copy this command. Paste it here. Hit enter. Okay, so why is it installing now? Let's keep going to the let's keep going through the documentation. Okay, what else do we need to know? So you have to copy this code down to your settings.py file, copy and paste it in your settings.py file. Yeah. So right now we already have simple JWT already installed. So now let's copy this command. Let's bring this guy a bit. So over to your settings file. Here is mine. So we are going to copy this command, copy it, and then paste it in your settings.py file. So I'll come over here. So once you paste it there, remove this ellipsis, remove these 3 dots, remove it, remove this one and this one. So this simply tells our Django, this simply means that we are now switching over to simple JWT for our authentication. That's what it means, so that's what it means. So once you've done that, so we are going to copy these two parts now, copy them, and over to your project url.py file, we are going to paste these two parts, right? So just copy it and down to your project URL.py. This is the file here. Paste it here. So I mean your project URL.py file, that's the file, that's the URL.py in your Django project. So you're gonna paste it there. So I'm gonna simply, I want to right now remove this API slash, remove the API. You must not remove it. It's not a must remove it, right? So I'm gonna rename this to token underscore refresh. So that's better. I prefer that. So yeah, yeah, we've got this now. So over here, we have to also import this. We have to also copy this imports, copy it, and then we have to paste it just above. Yeah. Yeah, and this is all we need to do. And this is all we need to do, right? So once you've done this now, it's time to work on the login. You get so down to over to your over to Postman. So these are our endpoints. The endpoints is token. For it to get logged, for it to generate the access and refresh token, you have to send a post request to this endpoint, and you're required to pass in your username and password before you can get these tokens, right? So over to VS Code. So on Postman now, I'm going to create a new request. So click on your Postman icon on the left, click on it, click on new request. So right now I want to create a login. Right now I want to try out the login and see if it is working. Right. So I'm going to say 127. So over here I'm going to put in token. So I'm going to replace that with token. And it should be a post request. And it means click on body and then form data. And right now I'm going to pass in the username. Remember, we created a user called Daniel. If you remember, I think his name is Daniel. Okay, username is called Dan. Username is Dan, right? So username is Dan, and the password is Baka100. Baka100, right? So let's try. So right now, click on the send button. Let's hope it works. It didn't work. I can't even say why. Let's try again. Click on send. Okay, right now I think let's run the server and see what the problem is. So my server seems to be, ouch, I don't even know what the problem is. Let me just raise this guy. Let me close. Let's run the server here. My server is currently. I'm gonna close this. Let's run our server again to be sure. Okay, my server was not running. Sorry, we have a syntax error. Server was not running. So let's see. So let's run the server again. That was the issue. Run server. Python -spy run server. Hit enter. Our server is back again over here. So you're passing our username, the password, the endpoint is the localhost/token, and then click on send. Right now we're expecting to get. Right now it says 200. Okay, that means it was successful. Right, so let's confirm that. Take this up. Okay, right now you can see we've got our refresh token. Right, we've also got our access token. Understand? So we've got these two now. So what's the next phase? So now right now user can sign up, they can generate their token. So the next thing I want to do now is I'm going to show you how to use this token to gain access to protected routes. Instead, I'm going to show you how to use it. But for now, the users can sign, they can create their accounts, they can also get their tokens, right? So the next thing we want to work on is how they are going to use this token to access protected routes to get. So working on that next. Okay, guys, right now it's time for us to work on the block API fully, understand? So this block API, what are we doing here? What is it? What is it about? So this block API, you can list out block contents. You can view you can, for example, we have here, you can view the, you can, I'm trying to remember, you can view the list of blogs. You can view the detail page of each blogs. You understand? So you can create new articles, you can create new blog articles. The author of a blog can update or delete these articles, right? So we're going to work on that. You understand? So we're going to work on the CRUD operations, and we're also going to add some permissions whereby only the author of a blog can update the blog. Only the author of a blog can also delete this blog if he wants to. You understand? So we're going to work on all these features on the back end before we start implementing it on the front end. You understand? So back to our code now. We're going to go down to our Django model. You understand? So our Django model. So in the last video, I talked about showing you how to use this access key to gain access to protected routes. So we are going to do that, whereby if you are not logged in, if you don't have this key, you can't create a blog. So we are going to work on that now. So back to our code. I'm going to close, I'll leave those. So I'm going to open a new, I'm going to open my models.py file. And it's in your blog app. In your blog app, there's a file called models.py. So open it up. So yeah, we're back here again. So we're going to create a blog model. We're going to say class. So what are the characteristics of a blog? A blog is meant to have a title. We're going to say models.model. A blog is meant to have a title, right? And that's going to be a character field. We're going to say models.character field. Now say max length should be, let me just say 255. A blog is going to have a slug. We're just going to say equal to, I'm going to say models.slug field. And I'll just simply say, okay, I'll say unique should be true and null should be equal to true. Sorry, not null, but blank should be true. Blank should be true. And the max length should be 255 also. So a blog is also meant to have the contents or the body. Let me just say, let's call it body. Let's call it content. I think content is much more descriptive. Let's say contents. So that should be a text field, models.text field. A blog is also meant to have the author, the writer of this blog, the author, right? And that's going to be a foreign key relationship to our user. I'm going to say models of foreign key, right? So it's going to be this custom user. But the best way to do this is to get the user from the settings.py file. We are meant to reference it from here. That's the best way to go about it. I'm meant to point to the user from this auth user model. So how do you go about it? So remember, the auth user model is in your settings.py file. So you're going to say from django.conf import settings, right? So we are trying to link up the user and the blog. You understand? That's because a blog is written by a user, right? And we're using a foreign key because a user can have several blogs, and a blog can only belong to one user. So it is a one-to-many relationship. A user can have several blogs, and a blog can only have one user. So you're going to say models as foreign key. We're going to point to this custom user. We are going to do that through the settings.py file. I'm going to say settings.auth user model, auth underscore user underscore model. Remember, we have that here. Here is it, right? Okay. And then we're gonna just say relate. We're gonna say on delete. So whenever you delete a particular, let's say on delete, whenever you delete an author, want to simply let the blogs stay. I'm gonna say models.set null. Want to keep the blogs models.set underscore null. Now say related name. I'm gonna add the related name. Related name should be equal to, I'll simply just say blogs, and I'll set null to true. So we've got the author. So what next? I want to also get the dates this blog was created. I'm gonna just say created should be equal to models.date field. Let's just say models.datetime field. I'll say auto underscore now underscore add should be equal to true. So what this auto now add does is that whenever you create a blog, it's going to record the time the blog was created. So I'm going to also add the updated field. So whenever the blog was updated, we want to also get the time. So I'm going to say models.datetime field, and we're going to say auto underscore now should be equal to true. So what this means is that whenever a change is made on the blog, it's going to capture the time any change is made on the blog. All this auto now true does. But as for auto now add, it simply captures the time this blog was first created. Instead, so you want to also have a published field. Instead, you can create a blog and not publish it yet. So you want to also capture the time this user is going to publish this blog. Understand? If the blog is not published, it cannot appear on the home page. It cannot appear here. It can only be seen in your profile. It cannot appear on the index page, right? So right now, I'm going to say published. Published. So I'm going to just say, let me just call this created ads, not just created, updated ads. That's more descriptive. And I'll say published time should be equal to, I'm going to say models.datetime field. So now I'll say auto underscore now underscore hard. Sorry. We're gonna say blank should be equal to true, and null should be equal to true. So I'll let you know where we are going to record when we are going to catch this published time. And the last field is, I'm going to say is draft. Remember, by default, if you create a blog, it's going to be set to draft. But that means the blog cannot be seen by the public. It can only be seen by you, the owner of the blog. So if your blog, so by default, I'm going to say models.boolean field. Boolean field. I'm going to say default should be equal to true. Whenever you create a blog, it will be set. So I'm going to set it to. It's going to be a draft blog whereby it can't be seen by the public. It can only be seen when you turn off this is draft field. You understand? That's when it can be seen by the public. And right now, our blog is going to be. I want to also give our blog some categories, right? Right now, let's give our blog some categories. I'll paste this code here. It's a simple one. We are going to use a choice field. So our blog can either fall in the technology, economy, business, sports, or lifestyle category. You understand, right? So now I'm going to add a new field and I'll say category should be equal to models.character field. And I'll say max length. I'll say max length should be equal to. So we're going to say max length should be equal to, let's say 255. I will say choices should be equal to category, right? And then we're going to then say what next. We can just say let's just say blank should be true and null should be true. Also, our blog is meant to have a picture. It's meant to have an image, right? Something like this, right? Something like instance. So we're going to say featured image Now say models.image field, and I'll just say upload to. I'll just say blog underscore img, and I'm gonna say blank should be true and null should be equal to true. So I think we've got all what we need for our blog. We've got everything. So we're going to add a class meta. I'm going to say class meta, whereby I want to simply order our blog by the published date. I'm going to say order, and I'll say it's going to be, I think it's called ordering, should be equal to. So right now I want to make sure that the blog that was published last appears first. Whereby if a blog was published last, I want to make sure that blog appears first. Understand? So right now what we have up here is the last published blog. So this is the first published blog. So right now I want to simply make sure that the blog that was published last appears first. I want to just say minus published dates. Let me just copy this. Published time, that's the name of the field. Published time, copy it, paste it here, and I'll return our string function. Now just say def underscore xcr underscore, and I'll pass in the self. Now say return self.title. So yes, we've got this already. So what's the next thing now? So right now, I want to work on, want to customize the blog save method. What do I mean? So whenever we save the blog, want to capture the value want to simply provide a value for the slug, and want to also provide a value for the published time whenever the blog is saved. You understand? The value for the slug can be gotten from the title, and the value for the published time can be gotten from this field is drafts. Whenever this field is converted to false, then by default it is true. Whenever it is converted to false, we want to capture that time it was converted to false. Whenever it's converted to false, that means the blog has been published. You understand? So we are going to customize our save method to undo these two cases for the slug and the published time. Let's look on that next. It's time for us to customize the blog save method. So I'll paste the code here to make things faster, and I'll explain what's going on. So we have the save method. What is it doing? First and first, let's import Slugify. So I'm going to just say from django.utils.text import Slugify. Yep. So we've got our Slugify imported now. So what are we doing now? First and first, we want to simply provide a value for our slug based on the blog's title. We want to get the value for the slug from the blog's title. So I'm going to show you what a slug looks like. I really hope you know what a slug looks like. So I'm going to just search for let's just say medium. Let's go to medium.com. Okay, now let's say click on start reading. Okay, dev.to. Let's just okay, now you can see we have some links. I'm going to click on this link. Right now you can see we have this. You can see the title of this article. The title is how I built the world's best Next.js AI scheduling app. Here is the blog title, right? If you come over here, you can see over here, this is the slug. The slug was generated from the blog's title. You understand? The slug, you understand? So we've got, so for it to access, remember we have a list of articles here, right? A list of articles. For it to access each of these articles, we used to use the article slug, and the article slug is gotten from the article's title. You understand? So if I click on this now, you can see up here we have the title is called 9 interesting open source projects. The slug is also called 9 interesting open source projects. And we check closely, the slug they are all in small letters, and they are all separated by an hyphen. So that's what it means for it to be slugified. The title was slugified, and it was now converted to small letters, and they were separated by hyphens. You understand? So that what is happening there, right? So that what a slug is now. So a slug is gotten from your title. So what are we doing? So we are getting the so right now we have to get our block title. We got it. After getting the title, we have to slugify it. You understand? Slugify it is making it to be in small letters, and each word is separated by an hyphen. After doing that, you have to simply get the value and pass the value to this variable called base slug, right? So then we have to create another variable called slug, and this is another variable called slug, and this slug is simply holding the is simply pointing down to base slug. Nothing is happening. So what are we doing now? So right now, we want to make sure that our slug is unique. If we check closely now, this slug has a random character appended to it. This random character is what ensures that the slug is unique, because we're going to be getting each of our blog posts by their slug. And to get them, every blog post must have unique slug. So let's make sure our slug is unique, right? That's the aim. That's the aim, right? So how do we go about that? We have to declare a variable. We have to declare a variable called number. And this number holds the value of 1. So over here, we have this loop. So right now, we are going to simply loop through all our blogs and check to see if any of the blog slug already exists. You understand? We are going to check before we save a new blog. We are going to check all the blogs we have and see if the new blog we are about to save, if the slug of that new blog already exists in our database. We are going to check. We are going to check for it. So we are going to check for it. So if this condition is true, this loop will keep running and to keep checking. So right now, if the new blog we are about to create, if the slug of the new blog we are about to create already exists, this loop is going to keep on running. To keep on running. See, it's going to keep on running, right? So when does it stop? So right now, if the slug of the blog we want to create already exists, what are we going to do? We are going to simply append this number to the slug to make it unique. So that's what we did here. We had to append this number to the slug to make it unique. So after doing that, we are then going to increase this number by 1. We increase it by 1. Understand? We have to increase it by 1 so that we don't have to keep on appending only this figure 1 to our slug. Hope you understand. So why this condition is so if we find any slug that already if we find that the new blog we're about to create, if the slug already exists, we're going to keep on increasing the value of number. Understand? So we're going to keep on increasing the value of number so we can append it to the slug to make it unique. I really hope you understand what I'm trying to say. So once we are done with this command, we are then going to say the current blog. We're going to say the slug should be equal to this slug. Understand what we are going to do? So this command, this function, yes, it enables us to get our slug from the title, from the slugified blog title. But if the slugified blog title already exists, then we have to come down to this while loop to append this number to the slug to make it unique. Hope you understand. So that's that. So that's it now. So what next? We also talked about this publish time. So how do we capture the value? Let's call it publish dates. That's more friendly, not publish time. And it should be publish dates, not time. Yeah, so for the publish time, as for the publish date, I said that by default, this is draft is set to true, right? So what we are going to do is this now. So right now, whenever this is draft is set to false, that means the blog has been published. I want to capture that time the blog whereby this is draft is set to false. I want to capture that time. Want to capture that time, right? So right now everything's going to happen in the save method, because you get, so if you're updating the slug, you're going to save the blog. If you're updating this is draft, you're also going to save the blog. So everything is happening in this save method. So over here, I'll just paste this command, paste this code. So what's going on here is simple. So by default, is draft is true. So right now we are trying to say if is draft is false. If it is false, that means we've converted the blog from draft to published. So if it is false, and also if self.isPublished date is none, right? If it is none, if self.isPublished date is empty, if it has no value, right? I'm going to simply set the published date to the current time that this stuff happened, this stuff occurred, right? I want to do so. Right now we have to import time zone. Let me import time zone. I'm going to say from utils import time zone from Django.utils. So get what I was saying now. So by default, is draft is set to true. If it is draft, that means the blog has not yet it's not yet published, right? So right now, if his draft is set to false, that's to say that the blog is being published. And we're also going to check if this published date is none. If it is empty, if it has no value, we are then going to simply update the value of the published date to the current time this condition this condition took place, right? So that's that. And over here we'll simply just save we are going to call the save method on this function, and that's all we need to do. And I hope everything works fine. So right now we have done with our blog model. What next? Let's go work on the serializers. Okay, so right now before we create our serializers, let's go work on this what was it called, this featured image. Let's go configure our configure our media routes. Over to the setting.py file. Yeah, in this static URL, just beneath it, we're going to add a media URL. We're going to say that should be equal to, let's say, img, right? img / we're going to also add our media routes. Media underscore routes should be equal to, we're going to say the base directory / let's just say media. So these are all our images all the images we are going to upload is going to be stored in this media folder. So we are not done yet. So we're going to go over to our project url.py file. Yeah, we're going to just say URL patterns. Going to say URL patterns plus equal to, going to say static, and then we'll say settings dot media underscore URL. I'm going to then say documents underscore routes should be equal to settings dot media underscore routes. So we have to import static and settings. So we're going to say from Django.conf import settings, and I'm going to say we're going to say from Django.conf .urls.static import static. What's happening? Import static. So we've got those two imported now. So we've already got our media URL configured. So whenever we upload our images, we are going to have a new folder called media created, and this folder is going to be the one housing the files we upload. Hope you understand. So that's it now. So what's next? Let's create our serializers for the blog. So here's our blog. So these are the fields. So to create a blog, okay. So right now to create a blog, so I'm going to list out I think we need all the fields. We need everything, the title, we need all the fields, right? So over here, I'm going to say, let's create a blog. Let's create our blog. I'm going to say class blog serializer. I'll say serializers dot model serializer. And then we'll say class meta. I'm passing the model. Should be equal to blog. Right. So to save time out, let's import blog. I'm going to say from dot models, from the models.py file. Import blog. So now passing this field, I'm going to just paste in this to save time. So we have all the fields from we have all the fields from where? From the blog model. So we got our serializers done. So what's the next step? So I'm going to create a view right away. Let me close some of these guys. Close. Let's create a view for that. So now, let me close this. Now let's say def creates blog. Right, so we're gonna have the requests. So what we're gonna do is simple. We're gonna then say serializer should be equal to blog serializer. So we have to import this guy. Let's import it. We're going to import it from blog app.serializers. So over here, since this file, since the models.py, since the views.py and the serializer.py file are both in the same app, there is no need for this blog app. You can just say from dot. Since you're in the same folder, since you're in the same app, right? There is no need for that blog app I just removed. So now we've got our serializer. Right now we have imported our serializer. We've imported it, right? So since we are creating a serializer, we're going to pass in these fields. So it's going to be an object. We are going to pass in an object, and we're going to just say data should be equal to the object, and the object is called requests.data. And then we're going to check if we're going to check if the serializer is valid. We're going to check if this serializer is valid, right? I'm going to say if serializer dot is valid. We're going to then say serializer dot save. They're going to return a response. Return response. I'm going to say serializer dot data. And if there's an error, we'll just copy the same error message. But I told you that, remember I said before that you can only create a blog if you are logged in. Understand? So you can only create a blog if you are logged in. So we are going to add, so we have to make sure we have to add this API decorator. I'm going to say at API underscore view. So you can only accept a post request to create a blog. You have to pass in you have to make a post request, right? So last we have to also add another permission. So we have to add another decorator called permission classes, right? And we also have to import, I'm going to say from REST underscore framework dot permissions. We're going to import is authenticated. So now we're going to simply add this new decorator. I'm going to say add permission classes. So we're going to say is authenticated. That means only logged in users can create blogs, right? Only logged in users can create blog. And one more thing is this now. Remember, our blog has the author field, and the author is simply the owner, simply the person that wrote this blog. You get? So how do we capture this author? Understand? How do we capture it? Simple. So right now I said that only logged in user can access this, can create blogs, right? So right here you can say user should be equal to request.user. This is the logged in user, right? So far, you're going to say, right now, while we are saving the serializer, we're going to say author, this author right here should be equal to this user, the logged in user. So that's it. And once you're done, now let's go create a new URL mapping for this view. So over here, that should be in the app URL.py. Find your app, not in your projects, in your Django blog app. So I'm going to create a new URL path for the view. I'll just say paths. It's called create blog, and the name of the views is called create blog, and let's give the name create blog. So everything is the same. So since it is a post request, you're advised to add a / in front. So that's fine. So right now we've created the URL mapping for the blog, for our blog, for the blog views. So right now let's go register this blog in our admin.py file. Admin.py. So over here we'll just come over here and say class blog admin. Right. So I'm going to say admin.model admin, and yep. Right now we're going to use a list display. List underscore display should be equal to, right now I want to show out, I want to display the title of the blog. For the title, I want to display the, let's say is drafts. What else? Let's also display the category of this blog, the blog's category. And let's also add the created arts of the blog. Created arts. I think those 4 are fine. Let's see if we can add any more. Let's see the model. Let's see the blog model. I think those 4 are fine. So right now, yep. So let's import the blog. I'm gonna say import from the models file. So right now over here, I'll just say admin.sites.register. I'll pass in the blog and the blog admin. So this is done. So what's the next step? Down to refresh. Come on. Hope our server is not down. Let's run the server again. Run server. So our server is back again. Refresh. So we can see we have the blogs now. We have the blog table showing now in the Django admin. Oh, we've not made migrations. Let's make migrations. We have to migrate the blog. Make migrations. Let's migrate now. Right now, let's run the server again. Okay, so refresh this page. Yeah, so we can now create our blogs. So remember the URL is, don't forget the URL. Make close. The URL is called create blog, right? Create blog. And before you can create your blog, it must be logged in, right? So before we proceed, as for the simple JWT, let's go back to it. So on the left now, click on looking for, so click on the left panel, click on settings. So since we want to configure, so we want to simply increase the lifetime of our token, because by default our token only lasts for 5 minutes, and 5 minutes is just too short. It's too small. So I'll just copy this object. Let me just copy this. Copy this. Back to your settings.py file. To the bottom of the page, we'll paste this. This should be, let's just say 30 minutes. And let's close the objects. Let's add the closing brace. And we have to import time delta. Copy this command and then to the top of your page, to the top here. Yeah, so you're importing time delta. Let's run the server again. So right now it's time for us to create our blog. And if you're not logged in, you can't create the blog because of this decorator, right? We call the decorator on line 20. If you're not logged in, you can't. Right, so how do we log in and then create our blog? So back to your API. So now, by now, our access token has expired. I told you that it only lasts for 5 minutes. We have to create a new access token. So I'm going to create a new access token. Click on send. Click on it. Don't waste time. What is it taking? Okay, now we've got another access token again. Gotten a new one. So right now I want to create our blog, right? So I'm going to come over here. To create a blog, the URL is called create blog. The endpoints create underscore blog. All right. So, and over here, remember you have to click on body and then click on form data. So now our blog needs the title. The title, I'm going to say, let's say Django REST for beginners. Our blog needs the contents, right? So I'm going to put this same thing as the contents. Our blog needs the slug. Remember, the slug is our slug is being generated automatically. Whenever we save, our slug is being generated, right? So let's leave the slug. Our blog, let's see what our blog needs. Let me open my models. The blog also needs the okay. We don't need this draft. Is okay. Is true. Our blog needs category, featured image. Let's add them. Let's category. Remember, your category must be one of these. Let me close this, guys. Your category must be one of these 5. Either technology, economy, business, sports, or lifestyle. So I'm gonna go for technology, right? Technology. And the featured image, copy this. So click on this drop down here, click on it, choose file. So want to upload a file, an image. I'll pick one of this, my images here, one of this, open. So that's it. I think we've gotten all the fields that we need. The other fields are being generated automatically. This is drafts. Is set to true by default, right? Okay, set to true by default, so it's not a problem. Leave that. So the other fields are being generated for us automatically. So I'll remove this password. We don't need it. Let's just delete it. Yeah. So we've got the title, the contents, the category, and the image, the featured image, right? So remember, you cannot create a blog if you're not logged in. Right now, we have our access token here. So copy this access token. Don't copy the quotes, just the token itself. Don't copy the quotes, just copy the token, copy, and back to, yeah, we are back here. So click on headers. So we're going to simply come over here and say authorization, and then we have to paste our token here. But before you paste your token needs a prefix. It needs a prefix. So the prefix is called bearer. I'll show you where the prefix is called bearer. Back to your browser, you can see from this simple JWT, if you scroll down, we have these auth header types. So here's where the bearer is coming from. It's called bearer, right? That's what the prefix is called, bearer. So back to VS Code. Remember, yeah, because here's our VS Code. There's the body. The body is the body holds the object you want to pass to the backend. It holds the block data. The headers is where you go and set your is where you go pass your token, whatever key you want to pass. Right now, I want to pass the authorization token, which is our access token. I told you that and that token requires a prefix called bearer and then space, and then you paste in the access token. This is all you need to do. That's it. So back to your body now. So click on send. If you click on send, hopefully we get a new blog created. So it's a post request, remember. So click on send. Let's hope there is no error. Right now it says 200 okay. So let's take this up, drag it up. Right now you can see we have a new blog created. You can see the title, you can see the slug, right? You can see the image, everything, the author. Oh, the author was captured, but what we are having there is just the author's ID. So right now we are going to work on that so we can get the author's objects, the author's name, and some other information. So his draft is false. Okay, his draft is false. Let's see, but I didn't tamper with his draft is meant to be true. Let's see what we did there. It's meant to be true, but it says false. Okay. Okay, I think I was meant to pass okay, no worry. Since I was meant to pass his draft as part of the body, I did not. I was meant to say his draft underscore should be true. But since I did not do that, there's no problem. So now I've gone down to our backend. If you refresh, because now we have a new blog. His draft is false. You can see it's working, right? You can create a new blog if you're not logged in. If you do not provide your JWT token, your access token, you can't create a blog, right? So that's it. Okay, there's a minor thing we need to fix. From this author field now, we want to return an object, not just the author ID. Right, so how do we go about this? So it's simple. Back to your code, over to your serializers. So here's the field here, author. So we're going to create a author serializer. I'm going to say class. I'm going to just say simple author serializer. Right, now we'll say serializers dot model serializer. And remember, the author is pointing out this is pointing to our user model. We're going to just say class metal, and we'll say model should be equal to get user model. And the fields we just need just 3 fields. Let's say the ID, the username, the first name, and last name. We just need these 4 fields. Last underscore name. So back here, back to the block serializer, we're going to then say author should be equal to simple author serializer, and we'll say read only should be equal to true. That means we cannot, so that means we are not meant to provide a value for author by ourselves. We are not meant to do that manually. Like that means we are not meant to provide a value for author by ourselves. What it means is this, that we are not meant to pass author as a field. We're not meant to say author and they provide a value. No, the author is captured from the logged in user. So we're going to create another blog now. So I will just say, let's say React for beginners. React for beginners. Right, so don't worry about the slug. Let me just copy this and replace it here. And let's change the image to something else. And let's say it's true. His draft should be true. His draft should be equal to true. Okay, and then I think that's all we need. And then let's click on the send button. It says 200 okay. If you take it up, now you can see we have the author. Now the author is now returning an object, not just the ID, right? And we have his drafts are set to true. If his draft is true, his published state is going to be null. Understand? So the published date is always going to have a value when his draft is false. You know that if it is draft, that means the block cannot be seen by the public. It's only but if his draft is set to false, that's when the block can be seen by the public. So back to our Django admin. If you refresh this now, you can see now we have a new blog. You can see his draft is true. If you open it now, we have our slug. You can see now everything works everything just works fine. If I set this as draft to false and save, you're gonna have a value for this published date. So save, open it again. So it's called React for beginners. So now you can see now published dates now as a value, right? So everything works fine. It's moving well. So we are done with creating our blog. So what next? Let's go work on listing out this blog. Okay guys, so right now we just worked on creating of blogs, in instance, whereby before you can create a blog, you must be logged in, right? So right now it's time for us to work on listing out this blog post, you understand? So let's want to list them out. Want to see the blogs that has been created, you understand? So okay, and over here, you can see we have on this page now we have the listed blogs. We have them, you understand? So right now I want to work on listing out this blog post. So we're going to create a new function, and I'll just simply say def. I'm going to say blog lists, blog underscore lists, and they're going to have the passing the requests. And right now we're going to simply list out all our blogs. So say blogs should be equal to blogs dot objects dot all. Right, so let's import blog. That should be from that should be coming from our models.py file. Up here I'll just say from okay, I know what to do. Okay, let's say from dot models import blog. Yeah, so we've got that imported, and over here we're going to say blog.objects. We're going to list out the old blogs, and then we'll say serializer should be equal to blog serializer, and then we're going to pass in these blogs inside. We're going to pass in the blogs, and we're going to say many should be equal to true. That's because we are likely to have more than one blog, you understand? So many should be equal to true, and then we're going to return a response. Say return response, and we're going to say serializer dot data. Right, so we've got this already. So what do we do next? Let's create a URL for the view. So over here, I'll just copy that function name. Then over here, I'll say paths. And I'll say views.bloglists. And the name should be equal to views.bloglist, right? So we've got this already. So here's our blog. So after we've done this now, we have to make this a REST function by adding this decorator. So paste it here, and this view is only going to support the get requests. So yeah, we've got that already. And let's hope it works without any errors. So I have to just, I'm going to open my, so let's run server. So I'll say Python manage a spy, run server. Okay, our server is up and running. So as usual, we can go over to Postman, right? So we don't have, we don't have to use Postman for this because there is no, we don't, because right now we are not trying to create a new blog. We are trying to list out the blogs we have. You can simply use your browser, go down to your browser, you just go down to 127 port 8000 and then you say blog underscore lists. Hit enter. And right here we have all our blogs, and currently we only have 2 blogs in our database, right? So we've been able to list out the blogs you get. So now we've done, so right now we are done with listing out the blogs. So what's next? Let's work next on updating a specific blog, on updating a particular blog. We're going to work on that next. Okay, so guys, time for us to work on updating a specific blog. So once you update a blog, right? So, and this is how it works. Before you can update a blog, you must be logged in. And an author can only update his own blog. You can't go ahead to update, you can't update someone else's blog. You can only update the blog you wrote by yourself, right? So right now, let's create the function. I'm going to say dev. I'm going to say updates underscore blog. And then we're going to have the request. So once we've got that already, what's the next thing? So this is going to be, I'm going to copy these 2 decorators. So first of all, we have the API view decorator, and we also have the permission classes. That's so right now I just want to say that this view it is a protected view. You have to be logged in before you can access the view, right? So right now I'm going to get the logged in user. Now so user should be equal to request.user. Right, so we are trying to update a particular blog, right? And right here I'm going to pass the blog's primary key. I'll say pk, and over here I'll say blog should be equal to blog dot objects dot get id equal to pk. Right, I've done that already. So once this is done, what's the next step? So we're going to check now if blog dot author, if the blog's author is not equal to the logged in user, we are going to simply return a response. We're going to say return response. Right now, say error. And over here, I'm going to say you are not the author of this blog. You are not the author of this blog. We're going to return a status. We're going to say we're going to return a status code, and that's going to be 403. We're going to say status should be equal to status dot http underscore 403 underscore forbidden. So what's happening here is this now. So if you can update a blog, you must be the author. You can't just go ahead to update someone else's blog, right? So if this condition fails, if this condition is true, we're going to return this response. I understand. So, but if it is not true, so we're going to then say serializer should be equal to block serializer. And then we're going to simply pass in the blog we want to update this blog, right? So pass it in, right? And then I'm going to say data should be equal to requests dot data. Remember I told you that this request of data is an object, and it is an object containing these are the fields here, these fields, right? These fields and their values, right? So that's what that request or data is. So then I'm going to say, you're going to check if the serializer is valid. We're going to say if serializer dot is valid, right? So we're going to then say serializer dot save, else if this is not valid, and then we're going to return a response. I'm going to say return response, and we'll say serializer.data. But if there is any problem, we're going to return a different response. We can just copy that response from here to save time. Copy this response and paste in here. So now we've got that already. That's fine. So what are we going to do next? We have to simply create the URL for this view. So we're going to open the URL file. Let's open that to the side. Yeah. So we are here now. So I'm going to call this, we'll simply say update blog, right? And right now we are going to be expecting the primary key. I'm going to just say int, and then I'll say pk, right? And then I'll just simply pass in, I'm going to say views dot what? Update blog, updates, Ctrl+C. And then if I come over here and say name should be equal to view, I'm going to say update blog, right? So we've got that already. So right now it's time for us to test this to see if it is working. So right now, let's see how far we've gone. Let's try and test this to see if it's working. So as usual, first thing first, we have to get logged in. So I told you that it used, for example, let's go down to our database right away. I'm going to go down to the back end. Say 127. Be ports. So go down to the admin. Gain access. Okay, login. So now, right now we only have 2 blogs, right? So I'm going to for the first blog, which is called React for Beginners. You can see right there the author is Daniel. Daniel is the author, right? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to simply log in as Clint, and I'll try updating this blog that was written by Daniel. So we're going to try that right now. I'm going to log in as Clint now. So you know how we do it, right? So I'm going to go down to Postman. So we're going to open a new request. So let's come on. So to log in, we have to go down to 127. So you're going to log in. We have to come down to the token endpoint, and then you click on body. You click on form data, and once you've done that, now you have to input your username and password. The username is called Dan. Username is okay. Right now, I am going to log in as Clint. Username is called Clint, and the password is 1234. That's for Clint. So we are trying to update Dan's article. So right now, once you've done this now, make sure it is a post request, and then click the send button. Click the send button. So let's get our access key, and so right now I'm trying to get our access key. The request is currently sending. Yep. So it says 200 OK. So right now here's our access key. Perfect. So we've gotten our access key. So now what's the next step? So we're going to open a new request. So right now we want to update the blog, and right now Clinton is trying to update someone else's blog, right? So over here, you're going to say 127. So come back here again, back to our code. I remembered something. This is meant to be a puts request, not posts. Whenever you're trying to update something, what you're meant to use is a put request, not post. Post is meant for creating something new, but put is meant for updating something that already exists, right? So I'm going to just say puts, right? So that's that. So I forgot, that's very important. So right now the URL for this view is currently, what's it called again? So right now the URL is called update blog, and you are meant to pass in the primary key of the blog. You're meant to pass in the blog's primary key, right? And remember, whenever you're trying to make a post or a put request, it's always advised you put in the the trailing forward slash. You have to put in the this last forward slash is always important. So right now we know we've gotten our endpoint. So back to our code. So back to this tab. Yep. So what are we doing? So we're gonna say 127. So it's called update blog, update underscore blog. We're going to pass in the blog's primary key. So over here, the primary key of this blog is 2. From what we have up in the URL, it is 2. So back to VS Code, we're going to pass into forward slash. This is meant to be a put request. So right now, we want to update the blog's title and also the body and also the contents, right? Let's update the title and the content. So it's simple. Back here, click on body, click on form data, and then I'm gonna just say title should be, let's just say React Masterclass. React Masterclass. And the body, you're gonna say content. They're gonna simply say I love React.js. So remember I told you that if you try submitting this now, it's gonna ask for what's it? It's gonna ask for a logged in user. So right now I'm gonna try submitting it like that. Let's see. Send. So you can see now it says unauthorized. You are meant to be logged in. You can see it's asking for your authentication credentials. It says that they were not provided. So let's provide it. Right now we are trying to provide the wrong credentials. Remember, Daniel wrote this blog, and currently we are logged in as Clinton. So if I copy this guy, this access token, copy it back here, we'll simply just say, we'll click on headers, and then we'll say authorization, and we're going to pass in the token over here. Remember, we have to pass in the bearer and then space and then paste in your access token. So we've got that already. So if I try right now, I'm trying to update this blog post using the wrong user. So click on send. Right now it says 403 forbidden. If you scroll up, it says you are not the author of this blog, right? So Clinton is not the author of this blog. So we are going to log in as Daniel right away. So over here, I'll come over here and put in Daniel. I think it's Dan. And the password is Baka 100. And then click on send. So right now we've gotten the right access key, the access token, the right one. Copy it and then back to this tab. So over to the headers, we have to replace what we have here. We have to using the right access key. And then we've got that already, and now we're trying to update this blog. You can see right now the title is saying React for beginners, and the body is also saying React for beginners. So right now we're trying to update it to what we have here. Right, so let's try that now. Click on send, and let's see. Oh, it says 400 bad requests. It says the content field is required. Oh, sorry, contents. I spelled it wrongly. It's meant to be a small c. It's meant to be a small c, right? So that was a mistake I made. So let's cross-check this again to be sure. So, okay, the title is required. What else? The contents and all other things are all automatic or automated, right? So, yep. So now let's try again. So it's meant to be a small c. If you check over here from the models, it is a small c. From the serializers, it is a small c, right? So back here, send. Right now it says 200 okay, right? So now over here you can see we have the title updated. We also have, where's the body? We have the body updated. So back to our Django admin. If I refresh this page now, you're going to see React Masterclass, and over here you're going to see I love React.js. So let's just refresh. You can see now it has worked. It has been updated now, so it's working fine. So what's next now? So the next thing I'm going to work on is deleting. I'm going to show you how to delete a particular blog. So we're working on that next. Okay guys, so right now we just finished working on updating a particular blog. So what next? Let's work on deleting the blog. It's very easy. Back to our views. Back here again. Just come over here. I'll copy these two decorators, copy them. And once it's copied, now we're going to create a new function. I'm going to say delete blog, delete underscore blog. Right, so this is going to be a post request. Then I'm going to pass in the requests and the blog's PK, right, the primary key. So we're going to get the blog. We're going to say blog should be equal to blog.objects dot get ID equal to PK, and then we're going to simply say we're going to check the log. We're going to make sure that the user deleting the blog is the owner of the blog. We're going to say user should be equal to request.user, and we'll check if we're going to check if blog.author is not equal to the user. Then we're going to return a response that says, let me just copy the same response we have here, the same thing. Okay, Ctrl Z, Ctrl C, copy. Then paste that here. So you can only delete the blog you wrote. You can't come up here and delete someone else's blog. You get so if the blog author is not the logged in user, so you're going to return this response. Else we are going to delete the blog. I'm going to say blog.delete, right? And then we're going to return a response. Let's say return. So right now we're going to return a response. I'm going to say return response. And I'll just put in the, I'm going to just say, we're going to return a message that says, just say blog deleted successfully. And then we're going to return a status that is equal to status http underscore 204 no contents, right? So that's it. So we've gotten our blog view done. So what's next now? Let's create a view, a URL for this blog. Let's create a URL for this delete blog function. So over here, passing the paths. They're going to pass in the primary key. And remember, we're also passing the trailing slash there. And we'll simply just say views dot delete blog, and the name should be equal to delete blog also. Yes, so we've got this already. We've got it set. So it's simple. We're going to try the same thing again. I'm going to just quickly, I think I need to quickly create a new blog. Let's just create a new blog now. Come over here and just say create blog. Create underscore blog. So I just really hope that, what's it called, our headers, the access key is still valid. Let's hope so. So I'm going to create a new blog. I'll just say Next.js 15 crash course. The content should be, I just say I love coding. That's the content. As for the featured image, let's add an image. So I'm trying to create a blog that we can delete, and then I'll select a file here. Just pick any random image there. Okay, that's fine. Let's just say its draft should be equal to let's say is drafts underscore drafts should be equal to false. So let's send. So right now, just add a new blog created. That's fine now. So right now, we want to delete this blog. We want to delete the blog, and it's only Dan that can delete this blog. Only Dan can do that. Clinton cannot come. Why do I say so? That's because Dan is the owner of the blog. Understand? So Clinton cannot come over here to delete Dan's blog. It's not possible, right? So if we try, so right now, I'm going to just say delete blog, delete blog. We're going to pass in the primary key. Pass that here. So I'm going to try logging in as Clinton now. Back here, I'll just say Clint, and the password is 1234. Send. So we go to our access key. This is Clinton's access key. So Clinton is trying to delete Dan's block, and that's not going to work because he's not the owner, right? So replace this access key we have there. Paste this one. So back to the body. If I click on send, return it. Right now we're having an error. It says server error. I think it's because I forgot to add the / here. Understand? I think that's one of the reasons. If I check, right, let me just check my code to see what the error message is. Let's see. Click on the server again. Run server. So I think it's because I did not add this / behind. So our URL is called delete blog, and then passing the primary key. So it should work. I'm gonna try it again. We'll try it one more time. So let's see if our server is up again. Okay, trying to run server is taking time. Why? So our server is up again, right? So back here, the person puts in the / there, and then okay, what are we gonna do now? We're trying to create. So now we're trying to delete this blog. We're trying to delete it, right? We don't even need to pass. We don't even need to pass any of this. We don't need to pass any of these fields because we're trying to delete. I just realized that now. I'll clear them off. You don't need to pass any of them. So click on send. Right now it says right now through an error, it says you're not the author of this blog. That's because you are currently logged in as Clinton, and Daniel is the owner of the blog. So only Daniel can delete this blog, you understand? So that's why we're having this error message. So we are good now. Okay guys, right now it's time for us to update a user's profile, right? So I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. Remember, back here in our serializer, by creating a user, we only provide values for the email, the username, the first name, last name, and password. And if you remember closely, we had to customize our user model. We added extra fields like bio, the profile picture, the Facebook URL. We had to understand the YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter, right? So these other fields don't have any value. You understand? Because while creating a user, we only provide values for the most important fields. So right now, I want to give users the ability to update their profile and provide values for these other fields. So we are going to work. So right now, we are going to be working on the user's profile updates, right? So I'm going to create a new serializer. Right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply copy this one. It's going to be similar to this one. I'll just paste this guy here. Yeah, I'm going to call this user updates, user profile. Let's say user profile update serializer. Let's call it update user profile serial. Let's call it update user profile serializer, right? So I'm going to add in the extra fields like the bio. I'm going to remove the password. We don't need to update the password. I'm going to just say the bio, right? Profile. What was the other one? Because it's called, let me be sure. I think it's called profile picture, and then the social media links, right? Okay, let me just close this guy. Open this to the right. Right, so it's our serializer. So it's called profile picture, profile underscore picture. Now add the other ones, Facebook. We have YouTube. We have Instagram. And we also have Twitter, which is known as X currently. So yes, I've added the other feeds we want to update. So we've got the feeds here. So so perfect, right? So what's the next phase? So we're going to create a view for this serializer. And just here, I'll create the view just under the register user. Let me just, I want to make sure they are together. I'll create the view just under the register user serializer. It must not be there, but I want to just make my there. So right now I'm going to pass in the API view, the API view decorator, and it's going to accept the put request because we're trying to update an existing record. And we're going to also add this permission class because it's only a logged in user that can update his or her profile. So I'll just say def updates underscore user underscore profile. I'm passing the requests. I'm going to get the logged in user. I'm going to say that should be equal to request.user. Request.user. It's very simple. And then what are we going to do next? I'm going to say serializer should be equal to updates user profile serializer. We're going to pass in the user one. We're going to pass in this user because it is this user we want to update. Then we're going to pass in the requests object. I'm going to say data should be equal to requests dot objects. Am I correct? Request of data, not dot object. Sorry, request of data. Then we're going to simply import this class. Also down control and the period sign on your keyboard. Yeah, so we already got it imported. Here is it. Right, so back here, we're going to check if the serializer is valid. I'm going to say if the serializer is valid, then we're going to simply save. We're going to say serializer. We are going to save the serializer. I'm going to say serializer.save. Right, so we've got that there, and then we're going to return a response. I'm going to say return response. Then we'll say serializer.data. Else you're going to return this error response, right? Just copy this and paste it. Yeah. So yeah. So we've got that already. So we've got our update user profile set. So we're going to create what? We're going to create a URL for the view. And just here, I'll just put in the paths. So yeah, we're going to say updates underscore user. And then I'm going to pass in the views. I'm going to say views dots update user profile, and the name should be equal to delete blog. Sorry, it should be equal to update user. Yeah, so we've got this already. So let's try it out. Let's try it out right away. Okay, so yeah, so let's try it out. But before we try it out now, let's go down to our admin.spy file, admin.spy. So I would like to add right now, if you go down to the user, if you go down to the Django admin, check out our users. Come on. Hope my server is not down. Let me run the server again. Let's run server. Ouch. So we're having an error. and that's coming from the url.py file. So I think let's add a comma. We've got to add a comma here. This comma is important. So don't worry, our server is going to reload by itself. So why is this reloading? Okay, so let's wait for it to reload because I want to show you something. So now back to the browser, let's refresh this. So now from what we have here now, this is the user table. We only have these three fields: the username, the email address, the first name, the last name. So right now I want to be able to add the bio. I want to add other fields. So I want to be able to, I want also see the other fields we have here, like the bio, the profile picture, and the rest, right? So back here, so back to our list display, I'm going to remove this create. Okay, I'm going to simply remove, we're not using the email for anything. Let's remove email. I'm not working with the email. So I'm going to just add, let's say the bio, the profile picture, the Facebook, Instagram, we have Twitter. What else again? Okay, we only have Twitter and YouTube, right? Let's add YouTube. Let me just break this. Yeah, so we've got this now. So come back here. If you refresh the page, so you can see now we have everything showing there. That's perfect now. So right now you can see we have all the fields now all showing. We can see the other ones are blank because we don't have a value. We don't have values for them yet. So you can see the bio is empty for both users. Let me just, I also wish I can collapse this. Okay, let's see. Okay, yeah, so perfect now. So you can see we only have two users. The bio is blank for both. Both of them don't have profile pictures. So so while creating their account, they only provided value for their username, the first name, and the last name. So right now, I want to give them the ability for them to update their profiles and provide values for the other fields, right? So now it's simple. We've been doing this before. So back to our view again, you can see before you can do this, you must be logged in. We can only update the logged in user's profile. So here's our URL. It's called update user. So back to Postman. So right now I want to update, let's update Clinton's, let's update Clinton's record. So I'm going to simply send it. I want to create a new access token because the one we have here might have expired. So send. Yep, so we got a new access token, right? So let me just reduce the size of this thing. So we've got a new access token. So right now let's update the profile. So back here, I'm going to just say update user, update underscore user. Okay, so now user, right? So I'm going to copy that token we got here. Copy it, the access token back here. I'm going to go down to the headers. You're going to replace what we have with this. I'm trying to update the user. I'm trying to update Clinton's profile. So back to our body now. So I want to simply add a biography. I'm going to say, I am a full stack. I am a full stack web developer and coding instructor. Right? So this is Clinton's bio and coding instructor. So I want to also give him a profile picture, profile underscore picture. Okay, I'll just pick on this. So because we have a drop down here, click select text, select file. I'm gonna give Clinton a profile picture. I just hope I find something I can use. Okay, I have one here. Open. So I want to also give Clinton, what's it called? It's Facebook. Let me just add a Facebook URL for Clinton, Facebook. And I have a sample URL here. Let me just copy this guy. Copy this. it must be a URL because that's why it must be a URL. Let me just add one more. Let me just add YouTube for cleansing. YouTube. I think I have YouTube over here too. Just copy this. Let me just close down the space. So I think I've got the YouTube URL. I'll paste it here. So Clinton only has. So right now, Clinton only has two social media, Facebook and YouTube. So, but right now I've given him a bio, a profile picture, right? So we hope this works. Let's hope it works. So now we're going to send. We can also decide to update Clinton's first name or his username. I can just say username. The username is called Clint. It's called Clint, right? Sounds right now. I want to change this to Clinton, or let's call it code with Clinton. I'll just say code with Clinton. That's gonna be the username. Right, so now I'm trying to update. I'm also trying to update the username we have here. Right, so let's hope this works. So let's hope we're not going to face any errors. It's going to be a puts request. Remember, let's see if we did that. It should be a puts request. Puts, right? So yes, back here, choose puts, and then send. Let's send. Perfect. As it says 200 OK, right? So you can see now it's worked. It's worked. I can see Clinton now has a bio. He now has a profile picture. You can see we changed the username from Clint to code with Clinton. So back to our browser now. If I refresh this page, refresh, you can see now Clinton now has his name has been changed from Clint to code with Clinton. He now has a bio. He now has a profile picture. He has a Facebook URL. If I open the profile picture now, let's see what it looks like. Because this is Clinton's profile picture, right? It's working, isn't it? It's working. We've been able to successfully update a user's profile. So Clinton now has Facebook. If you scroll, he also has YouTube and Facebook now. So I just showed you how you can update a user's profile. So right now we are going to deploy this application on render.com. So we'll deploy the backend and the front end on render.com. So right now let's deploy our application. So first thing first, we are going to start with the backend. So we'll come over to the backend first. You understand? So yeah, so what was the first we need to do? So what do we need first now? So we need to install a package called Gunicon. So Gunicon is used to run our server in production. You understand? So Gunicon helps us run our server in production. You get, so make sure you have your virtual environments activated, and then run this command pip install Gunicon. Sorry, I didn't run that. Pip install. Make this bigger. Okay, pip install Gunicon. So hit enter. So right now Gunicon is being installed. Okay, I already have Gunicon installed. You can see it says here requirement already satisfied. Okay, that's fine. So what's the next step? What's the next thing we're meant to do? So we need to simply create our file called. We need to simply add Gunicon to this file called requirement.txt. So if you don't have this file, don't worry. Just simply run this command pip freeze, then this greater than sign, the greater than sign. So I'm going to say pip freeze, and then the sign, and then you say requirement.txt. So this file contains all the packages that is required to run our application. All this file contains, right? So just hit enter. So right now I'm trying to add Gunicon to my already made list. Understand? You understand? So as for you, if you don't have the file, you can simply just run pip freeze to generate the file. That's it. So now we have Gunicon installed, already have the requirements file ready. So what's the next step? So right now we need to go configure our static files, right? So go over to your settings.py file. So just under the static URL over here, you're going to just say static underscore roots should be equal to, we're going to say base directory slash static. Make sure it is called static because render watches for the static folder. So make sure it is called static, right? So you've done that now. So you need to go over to your url.py file in your Django project. So open it, your url.py file. So over here, we did this for the media URL and for the media routes. This line you see here, we are going to duplicate it for the static routes. So instead of the media URL, we are going to have the static URL. It's important. And this is going to be the static route, right? The static routes. So yeah, that's one step. And back to your settings.py file, over to your allowed hosts. So I'll simply just add this asterisk here. So it's going to accept whichever hosts we have there. So just add this line there, this asterisk in quotes. So that's it. So okay, back to our code now. So in the root in the root directory, the same place where you have your requirements file, the same place where you have the manage.py file, your database, you're going to create a new file. I'm going to call the file build, then build in small letter. I'm going to say build.sh, and then I'm going to paste in this code here. So yeah, just pasting the code here. This one helps us to install our requirements. Like it helps us to install the content of our requirement.txt file. Understand? That's what the first command does. So this other one helps us to run the collect. It helps us to run the collect static command. That's for the static files. And the last one helps us to migrate our database, right? So this command now, the reason for this file is because we are trying to run multiple commands. So the best way to do it is to store the commands in a file, right? So yeah, that's it. So now the next thing you have to do now is to push your code to GitHub. So push your code to GitHub, and once you've done that, so proceed. So I'm going to simply update my repository on GitHub. I'll open a new Git terminal, Git bash. Okay, so right now I have my Git terminal open. So I'm going to simply update my Git repository. So I'm going to say git add then dots, and then also git commits. I'll just say prepping for deployments. So as for you guys, make sure you push your code to GitHub. For me, I already have my code on GitHub, so I'm trying to update the code I have on GitHub. As for you, if you don't have your code on GitHub, you have to push your code first before you can do any of this. Right. So for me, I'm trying to update my already existing code on GitHub, right? So then I'm going to say git push origin main, then hit enter. So right now, so I just push to GitHub. So I'll go over to my browser. Let's look up GitHub, github.com. Where are you? So my GitHub is here. So I'll simply open, let me check out right now, check out my repositories. So right now, this is the repository, this white seed portfolio API. Open it. So here we are. So I just pushed this. I just made some updates, and you can see in the last 1 minute we just pushed our latest updates, prepping for deployment. So I think we are good to go now. So over to render. Go on your browser, look up render.com. So if you don't have an account, simply sign up using your GitHub account. I recommend you sign up with your GitHub account. That's fast and quick. It's fast and easy. You get, so once you are logged in, I'll simply click on dashboard on the top right. Okay, so it's loading. Yeah, so right now, I'm going to create a new project. There's no matter. Let's just create a new project. Okay, don't worry. Right now we are trying to use a free plan. So I already have a project called Defolio. So if I add a new one, it's asking I make payment. So I already have a project called Defolio. So that's why we're going to use that like that. So we're going to use this project like that. So don't worry about creating projects. It's not a must to create a project. It's not a must at all. So once you click on the dashboard, remember we came from here. Remember we have to click on dashboard on the top right. All right, click on dashboard. And we are here now. So once you're here, it is not a must for you to create a project. No. So on the nav bar on top here, you see we have this new button. Click on it, then select web service. Web service, right? So now we want to pick our GitHub repository. We want to pick it. So click on the credentials on the right. Click on these credentials, then select GitHub, configure GitHub. Right, so we're gonna be logged into GitHub. So right now I am logged into my own GitHub account. So as for if you're not logged in, it's gonna ask you for your password to log in to GitHub, right? It's gonna ask you for your GitHub password to log in. So as for me, I already logged in. So I'm gonna pick my accounts here, go with cleansing, click on it. So right now we're here now. So just scroll down, you're gonna see select repositories. So right now, we are trying to select. We're not picking all our repositories. So click on this drop down. So you remember the name of the repository is called YT underscore Defolio. So yes, it's YT underscore Defolio underscore API. So here is it. So just select this. You can see right now, you can see it's up here, and then just scroll down, and then click on save. So we are being redirected back to render. So right now we are on render now, and you can see now our repository on render YT underscore Defolio underscore API. So click on it and then scroll down, click on connect. So it's loading now. So I'll just come over here and I'm going to give this a unique name. I'll just call it Defolio underscore API. That's fine. So it's asking us to pick a project. So you can see this is optional. So I will just pick Defolio. But it is optional. It is not a must. If you don't pick, it's fine. So as for the build command, the build command is going to be, so it's going to be sh build.sh. So right now we are referring to the file we created, this build.sh file for the build command. So you have to first of all put in sh, then build.sh. As for the start command, that's going to be Gunicon, then the name of your Django project, which is my own is called our Django project is my Django project is called new underscore Django underscore API. This is the folder that holds my settings.py file. That's the Django project. The folder that holds your settings.py file is your Django project. So mine is called new underscore Django underscore API. So back here, I'm going to say Gunicon, then new underscore Django underscore API, and we'll say dot WSGI, right? Then I'm going to say application. So if we check closely, this WSGI is also in the same location as our settings.py file. They are both inside of the Django project, which is new Django API, which is new underscore Django underscore API. Understand? So that's that. So I think we're making progress now. So what's the next step? So right now we are going to go with the free plan. So remember this is just a tutorial. We are trying things out. So we are gonna go with the free plan. So yeah, so now click on that and then scroll down and click on deploy web service. So let's wait for it to deploy. So it's gonna take some few minutes. It's not gonna take time. So currently it is building. So once it's done building, it's going to deploy it, and then we'll see if we are good to go. So we're going to give this some time to build and then deploy our web app to the cloud. So let's wait for it. So right now it's still building, and currently it's saying in progress. So it's now deploying. So it is almost done. It's almost done with the deployment. So let's wait. So right now you can see it says your service is live. So I think we are good to go. I hope this, and I really hope this does not throw any error. So it says right now it says your service is live. So scroll back up. You can see here's our URL. Here's the backend URL. Just copy it, go down to a new tab, and then paste it. Paste it, let's see. So now let's go down to /admin. Let's see our admin. Hit enter. So perfect. Now you can see we have our admin now. So right now I'm trying to check out our. Let me see one. Right now I'm trying to see any of our endpoints. Let me just open the blog app. Okay, let's go down to blog lists. Let's see what it looks like. Blog list, blog underscore list. So blog underscore lists. Hit enter. Perfect. Now you can see now we have successfully deployed the backend to the cloud. So here's the live URL. So this backend can be accessed from anywhere in the world.